Under the fluorescent lights of the emergency room, two men stood face to face. One was dying, the other had the power to save lives. 10 years ago, their roles were different, and mercy had not been shown. It was 2:47 a.m. The emergency room at St. Mary's General Hospital was chaotic as always. As ambulance sirens approached from the distance, the night shift nurses made their final preparations. But this night would be different. This night, the past would meet the present. Dr. Marcus Thompson, 28 years old, was adjusting his gloves as he stepped out of the ambulance. Tall and well-built, with black hair and eyes that held both determination and deep exhaustion. The young doctor was nearing the end of his 12-hour shift. The patient on the stretcher was unconscious, an elderly man with white hair and pale skin. As Marcus checked the patient's pulse, he looked at his face. For a moment his heart stopped. That face, it was so familiar. "What are the patient details?" he asked Nurse Sarah, trying to hide the tremor in his voice. "Dr. Richard Harrison, 58 years old, had a heart attack at home. Condition is critical." Marcus dropped the medical file he was holding. As the papers scattered on the floor, his mind went back to that terrible night 10 years ago, the night that changed his life forever. 10 years ago, 8-year-old Marcus Thompson stood at the doors of Mercy Private Hospital in his mother's arms. He was struggling to breathe. His fever was rising. He was having an asthma attack, but his family had no money. His mother, Linda, kept opening and closing her old wallet, counting the few dollars inside. "Please, doctor," his mother was pleading with Dr. Harrison, who was waiting at the door. "My son is dying. I'll give you whatever money I have." Dr. Harrison was the chief physician at Mercy Private Hospital at that time. He was a man known for his expensive suits, gold watch, Mercedes, and for closing his doors to poor patients. "This is a private hospital, madam," he had said in a cold voice. "If you don't have money, go to the public hospital. Here, only patients who can pay are treated." "But doctor, the public hospital is 30 kilometers away. My son can't make that journey." Dr. Harrison had shrugged his shoulders. "That's not my problem. Security, please remove this family from here." Little Marcus, struggling to breathe in his mother's arms, never forgot the doctor's cold eyes. There was no mercy in those eyes, only indifference. Fortunately, that night, a young nurse named Patricia Williams had intervened. She had paid for Marcus's treatment with her own money. Marcus had survived, but what Dr. Harrison did was never forgotten. Now, 10 years later, Dr. Marcus Thompson stood between his defibrillator and Dr. Harrison's life. The pulse monitor was dangerously slowing down. Every second was precious. "Marcus, what are you waiting for?" shouted Nurse Sarah. "We're losing the patient." Thousands of thoughts raced through Marcus's mind. This man was the one who didn't care if he died as a child. This man was the one who dismissed the lives of children without money. Now that child had grown up and held this man's life in his hands. Maybe this was justice, what they call karma. But Marcus remembered the greatest lesson he learned from Nurse Patricia. Being a doctor isn't just about knowing medicine, Marcus. It's about showing mercy. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Marcus took a deep breath. He placed the defibrillator on Dr. Harrison's chest. "Everyone stand back. 1 ... 2 dots, 3 dots. Shock. Dr. Harrison's body convulsed. The line on the monitor flattened. Then a single beep. Then rhythmic heartbeats. "We have a pulse! He's back!" Sarah shouted. Marcus waited beside Dr. Harrison as his eyes slowly opened. The elderly doctor first looked around, then focused on Marcus. You saved me," he whispered in a weak voice. "It's my job," Marcus said in a calm tone. A spark appeared in Dr. Harrison's eyes, as if he was trying to remember something. You look familiar. Have I seen you before?" Marcus paused. Then he spoke slowly. 10 years ago, there was a small child. He was having an asthma attack. His mother brought him to Mercy Private Hospital, but she had no money. Dr. Harrison's face changed. Memories began to return. Are you that child? I am that child. Dr. Harrison's eyes filled with tears. I had turned you away. I had refused to treat you. Yes, you refused. But now you saved my life. Why? Marcus stood up, removed his gloves. Because I'm not you, Dr. Harrison. Nurse Patricia taught me that to do good, that person doesn't have to have done good to you. Humanity should be unconditional. Dr. Harrison was crying silently. I had made a terrible mistake. If you had died, but I didn't die, and you won't die either, because I won't do to you what you did to me. At 6 a.m., it was shift change. As Marcus was leaving, he passed by Dr. Harrison's room. The elderly doctor was awake and looking out the window. Dr. Thompson, he called in a weak but audible voice. Marcus stopped and entered. I want to tell you something, said Dr. Harrison. That night I made the biggest mistake of my life, not just to you, but to many people. I closed my doors to patients without money. I don't ask you to forgive me because it's unforgivable, but I want you to know that the lesson I learned from you tonight will be my guide for the rest of my life. Marcus approached, touched the elderly doctor's shoulder. Dr. Harrison, the past is in the past. What matters is what you do from now on. If you really want to change, there's still time. How? How can I make amends? Marcus smiled. Nurse Patricia is now trying to establish her own clinic to treat children without money for free. Maybe you could help her. Dr. Harrison's eyes lit up. Yes, I can do that. I can donate all my savings to her. 6 months later, the Patricia Williams Free Clinic was opening. Dr. Harrison had donated his entire fortune. Marcus was also working there as a volunteer. At the opening ceremony, Dr. Harrison spoke at the podium. 10 years ago, I made a mistake. I refused to treat a child without money. That child grew up and became a doctor. Last year, when my heart stopped, that child saved my life. He taught me mercy. This clinic is a fruit of the second chance he gave me. Marcus stood among the audience. His mother Linda was beside him, looking at her son with pride. There's something this story wants to teach you, Dr. Harrison continued. The good you do comes back to you, but the bad you do also comes back. Marcus Thompson showed me that mercy is the most powerful medicine, and it's never too late. After the ceremony, Marcus and Dr. Harrison talked. Do you regret it? Asked Dr. Harrison. Regret what? Saving me. Maybe I didn't deserve it in your opinion. Marcus became serious. Dr. Harrison, if I had treated you the way you treated me that night, what difference would there be between us? Showing mercy isn't for those who deserve to be shown mercy. Mercy reflects the character of the person who shows it. Dr. Harrison nodded. You're absolutely right, and I will remember this lesson for the rest of my life. Years passed. The Patricia Williams Free Clinic saved thousands of children's lives. Dr. Harrison devoted the last years of his life to volunteer service at this clinic, and Marcus Thompson became a respected doctor, known for his work both at St. Mary's Hospital and at the clinic. The most beautiful part of this story was that many of the children who benefited from the clinic grew up to become doctors and continued the same mission. The two men who met in the emergency room 10 years ago had actually done more than just a life-saving operation. They had formed the first links of a chain of mercy. And as Nurse Patricia said, you don't need a reason to do good. Being good is reason enough. This story shows us that sometimes life's greatest transformations come from our courage to show mercy, and true victory is not defeating your enemy, but changing them.